What happens when love collides head-on with centuries of royal tradition? In Dubai's most guarded circles, whispers are swirling about a love story so intense it's forcing the palace to rethink its own rules. At the center of it all is Sheikh Hamdan, the crown prince known for his charm, his poetry, and his fiercely private heart, and the woman who captured it, Shama al-Falasi. But behind the royal smiles and public appearances, a storm has been brewing. And when powerful families clash over matters of love, the outcome is never simple and almost never predictable. For months, those closest to Shama had noticed something was off. The once radiant woman, always seen with a gentle smile and warm presence, seemed distant. Her eyes, once filled with light, now carried a quiet heaviness. And it wasn't just the public who picked up on it. Her own family, especially her father, Sheikh Abdullah, could sense that something deeper was wrong. This wasn't just the stress of royal life, this was personal. Sheikh Abdullah, a man known for his wisdom and measured decisions, didn't ignore the signs. He spoke privately with Shama's mother, and together they decided they couldn't stand by while their daughter suffered in silence. If Shama wouldn't open up entirely, they'd go straight to the source, the man at the center of it all, Sheikh Hamdan himself. But they weren't about to call him for a casual chat. No, they planned something much more deliberate. It was a dinner unlike any other. The Al-Falazi mansion, usually a place of quiet elegance, was now the stage for a meeting that could change the course of a royal romance. Sheikh Abdullah sent a personal invitation to Sheikh Hamdan, not through aides or formal channels, but directly, ensuring there would be no misunderstandings about the importance of his presence. When Hamdan arrived, the atmosphere was warm but unmistakably charged. The dining room shimmered under soft golden light, the table set with the finest crystal and silver, but no one was there just for the food. This was about answers. As the evening unfolded, polite conversation gave way to deeper truths. For the first time, Hamdan spoke openly about the delays in his marriage to Shama. His voice carried the weight of someone torn between two worlds, his duty to the royal family's expectations and his love for the woman sitting silently in the next room. Sheikh Abdullah listened intently, his eyes narrowing slightly, not in anger but in calculation. Every word Hamdan spoke was a piece of a much larger puzzle, one that Abdullah was determined to solve. And yet, when the plates were cleared and the night drew to a close, there was no resolution, only an unspoken understanding. Something far bigger was standing in the way of this love story. Days passed after the dinner, but nothing changed. No follow-up from Hamdan, no clear path forward, just the same silent uncertainty. For Sheikh Abdullah, that was unacceptable. He wasn't a man who waited for fate to decide, especially when his daughter's future was hanging in the balance. So he did something bold, something few would dare. He bypassed every layer of royal protocol and went straight to the top, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum himself. This was no small gesture. Requesting a private meeting with the ruler of Dubai wasn't something done lightly. It was a move that sent a message. This matter was too important for middlemen or delayed responses. Sheikh Mohammed agreed, setting the meeting for Friday. And so, behind the towering gates and ornate walls of Zabil Palace, the stage was set for a conversation that could reshape the fate of not just one couple, but two powerful families. The stakes, love, loyalty, and the future of the royal lineage. Inside the grandeur of Zabil Palace, the air felt heavier than usual. Sheikh Abdullah sat across from Sheikh Mohammed, the two men separated not just by a polished table, but by years of tradition, responsibility, and pride. Abdullah wasted no time. With calm but unwavering conviction, he expressed his frustration over the delays in Hamdan's marriage to Shama. Why, he asked, was his daughter being kept in limbo? Sheikh Mohammed listened in silence, his expression unreadable, and then he spoke, revealing a truth that had never been voiced outside the palace walls. He believed Hamdan needed to father another son with his wife, Sheikha Thani, before marrying Shama, not for sentiment but for succession. In his eyes, ensuring the royal lineage with another male heir was a matter of stability and power. For Sheikh Abdullah, the words cut deep. He leaned forward, his voice sharpened with offense. "You're treating my daughter like a placeholder," he reportedly said. To him, this wasn't just a delay. It was a clear message that Shama's worth was being measured against tradition's cold demands. The tension in the room was undeniable. Two patriarchs, both used to getting their way, now locked in a standoff over love, legacy, and respect. The room stayed tense, but Sheikh Mohammed wasn't blind to the growing rift. He understood that pushing too hard could turn a family disagreement into a lasting feud. And so, after a long pause, he offered a different path, one that might satisfy both sides without breaking royal tradition. His proposal, surrogacy. Hamdan could still father another son with Sheikh Thani, securing the royal lineage, but it wouldn't delay his marriage to Shama. In theory, it was the perfect middle ground. The family's succession plan would be protected, and Hamdan's long-awaited love story could finally move forward. Sheikh Abdullah listened carefully. While he didn't love the idea, it felt unconventional for such a traditional matter. He recognized it as the most practical solution under the circumstances. But if Abdullah's reaction was measured, Sheikh Thani's was anything but. The news hit her like a thunderclap. Surrogacy meant her role in shaping the royal future was being reduced, and she saw it as a direct blow to her influence. In the palace, whispers spread quickly. Some called it a clever, modern fix. Others saw it as a dangerous precedent. And Sheikh Thani, she was already plotting her next move. The decision sent ripples through the palace. While some of Sheikh Mohammed's closest advisors quietly praised the compromise as a modern solution to an old problem, Sheikh Thani saw it as nothing short of humiliation. For years, she had worked to maintain her place at the center of royal influence, building alliances and securing her position. But surrogacy, that stripped away the personal control she believed was her right. In her eyes, it wasn't just about the child, it was about power, legacy, and pride. Behind closed doors, her anger was impossible to contain. She confided in her closest allies, her voice sharp with betrayal. If Sheikh Mohammed thought she would simply accept being sidelined, he was wrong. But in this game, direct confrontation was risky. Every move had to be calculated, every word carefully placed. Still, the reality was clear. Sheikh Mohammed had spoken. The plan would move forward, whether Sheikh Thani liked it or not. And while Hamdan and Shama's path to marriage was opening, the undercurrents of palace politics had just grown darker. Because in the royal world, no one forgets a loss, and Sheikh Thani had just suffered one she would never forgive. When Sheikh Abdullah returned home from Zabil Palace, the weight of the past days seemed lighter. He called for Shama and told her everything, the tense discussions, the bold words he'd spoken in her defense, and finally, the compromise that had been reached. For the first time in weeks, Shama's eyes lit up. The uncertainty that had clouded her heart was finally lifting. She didn't waste a second. She picked up her phone and shared the news with Hamdan, her voice trembling with excitement. Hamdan was stunned. All this time, he had felt trapped between his duty to the family and his love for Shama. Now, for the first time, he could have both. That very evening, he made his way to the Al-Falasi mansion. In the quiet beauty of the rose garden, the same place where they had shared countless afternoons together, they met not as lovers waiting for permission, but as a couple finally free to dream of their future. They laughed, they talked, and every smile felt like a promise. The tension that had gripped them for so long was gone, replaced by a hope so bright it seemed to fill the air around them. But beyond the gates of the garden, not everyone was celebrating. In the end, it was more than just a love story. It was a clash of values, tradition versus change, pride versus compromise, and the quiet strength of a woman who refused to be treated as anything less than worthy. Sheikh Abdullah had proven himself not only as a father, but as a strategist, navigating a political storm to protect his daughter's dignity. Sheikh Mohammed, despite his firm grip on tradition, showed he was willing to adapt when the stakes were high enough. And Hamdan, he emerged with something rare in royal life, the chance to follow both his heart and his duty. But if history has taught us anything, it's that royal peace is rarely permanent. Sheikh Athani's silence isn't surrender, it's preparation. And in a palace where every smile hides a strategy, today's resolution could be tomorrow's first spark of a new conflict. For now, the rose garden belongs to Hamdan and Shama, but in the shadows of the palace, the game of power quietly continues, because in this world every love story is also a political story, and this one is far from over.